I'll give you the egg. I just need you to tote it for me. Like, I don't understand, people. Hi, everyone. I'm Soraya Rhea, and thanks for tuning in for my review of 90 Day Fiancé Before the 90 Days, Season 3, Episodes 2 and 3. All right, guys, so I've been a little backed up with my videos lately. There's so many shows. So I am combining my review of episodes 2 and 3 for Before the 90 Days, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about today in this video, and oh my goodness, we've got a lot to talk about, including a brand new couple, and I'm assuming this might be the last couple that we're being introduced to for the Before the 90 Days season, okay? All right, let's get right to it. Starting with Avery and Omar. Guys, I'm just saying this. This show is... This is heavy. I think maybe that's also why I've been kind of like falling behind with posting. I'm like, this is a lot. This is a painful series to watch currently. So Avery hangs out with some of her friends before she and her mother make the trip to Lebanon to meet Omar for the first time. And, you know, she's talking to her friends and explaining to them that in Omar's culture, you know, he hasn't done anything sexually with a girl, apparently. You know, he hasn't even as much as held another girl's hand. So, you know, they're not even going to kiss at their wedding ceremony. And her friends are like, what? Oh my gosh, what? You know? And she's saying that, you know, yeah, this is really different for her, but because she has accepted and converted to Islam, you know, she now kind of accepts this for herself as well. She notes that she wishes that in her 19 years of life, she wishes that she has now waited for marriage to have sex, which I mean, I get it. It's just so interesting for me to hear someone so young talk about, yeah, you know, like when I was younger, this, and like when I that, and it's like, you have not lived life, sweetie, you know? I mean, obviously she's done things, so yes, she does have something to say, like, I wish I had never done this, and blah, blah, but it's like, again, sometimes she talks about this, like, whole past life, you know, and I'm like, sweetie, you 6 months in this thing, okay? You 6 months. You know, and then you've known Omar for less than 6 months because you only met him after converting to Islam, you know? So after being a convert of 1 month, you have now attached yourself to someone and then, you know, agreed to then marry this person. So, you know, whatever. They make the long flight to Lebanon, and finally she meets Omar. They embrace and hug and hold for a long time. And I kind of found that to be really interesting because, again, there's all this like, you know, oh, in his culture, I mean, our culture, or his religion, I mean, our religion. I'm surprised that they had a full on, you know, front to front tight hug. And I'm like, again, bringing it back to the Duggars, because clearly homegirl doesn't know that there are lots of things that you can find in the Christian religion that she has now flocked to with Islam. You know, I'm like, the Duggars, they hug on the side. You know, only when you're married do you get to do the full-on hug, okay? So all of that was too much. You know, they do the side hug. Anyway, I think that Avery will follow whomever her man is at the time to do whatever. You know, again, I think that she is somebody that really wants to be different. I think she wants to try new things. And so long as this thing is new and different and makes her somehow unique or sets her apart, I think it's exciting for her. And I think she's attracted to excitement. Her Muslim devotion is superficial at best. She does note that at times Omar has wondered if she could be even more conservative. The few outfits that we have seen her in, I mean, she's covered. She's doing all the coverings. I don't see anything that is, you know, not modest, unless he doesn't want her to wear makeup. Maybe that's it, because she's doing a lot of red lip, you know. Anyway, once they meet, they, you know, like I said, they hugged. They're really happy. And the mom, which I'm really surprised, but maybe, you know, you could just get caught up in the emotion. The mom is all smiling And mind you, they lost their luggage and everything, so there's a lot to complain about. But then she's like, come, let me get a hug from my future son-in-law. I guess initially I was like, why is the mom going? She's trying to go to stop. But I'm like, but so you've actually really, truly have accepted that she's going to marry this man, you know? And even with Avery kind of going on and on about the fact that she has this secret that she's planning to move to Syria after they get married, even though she does claim that she is going to come home first, back to America, and then go back to Syria. To me, the biggest thing is that she's going to get married. And if that happens, I don't get that. I thought this was just, let's meet and see how you are and whatever. But I guess she was already engaged. So, you know, but yeah, this wedding is supposed to happen within days. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I'm upset about this. This really upsets me because even though she is a legal adult, being that she's over 18, this is a child. She is still a teenager. And, you know, this isn't just somebody, you know, deciding to get married really, really early. This is somebody that is trying to get married and then move her life to another part of the world, and a part of the world that is currently very dangerous because of the war. So I just would not be having that. As a parent, I do not know what do you do as a parent at that time. Like, if you really want to stop your child from making a really big mistake. Now, mind you, Omar very well may be a nice person. He might be a nice person. He might really like her and whatever, but it's just like there's that it's too much change too quickly. No, because I believe that her devotion to the faith is superficial and really only hinging on a relationship with a man. Avery she does not know what she's getting herself into. And I don't care what religion it is. This is just too much, regardless, for her 19-year-old self. Moving on to Angela and Michael. Or Angela and Michael. So we find out that Angela is a hospice nursing assistant. At first I was like, there ain't no way that she's a nurse. No, she's not. She's a nursing assistant. But she works in hospice. So at first I was like, oh my gosh, can you imagine end of your life having this woman like be somewhat in charge of your care? But who knows? Maybe she's super fun, and then she's maybe a delight to some people as they, you know, near the end of their lives. I don't know. But I didn't know how to think about that. Anyway, Angela, and so in the first episode, Angela and her friend go to this outdoor wedding venue and they meet DJ Doug. Now, because I'm a whole week behind this, I know I'm not saying anything that y'all don't know yet. DJ Doug, everybody so far in Twitterverse, they just are going crazy over DJ Doug because of his famous lines. Because Angela says that she wants the American style wedding and then for the reception to change to African style. And actually DJ Doug called her on it and said, what are you talking about trying to have two full different themes for a wedding? That sounds crazy, but he is willing to do whatever floats your boat. What did he say? Accommodate your sins. He said something. So he is somebody that, I tell you, there's some people like some cultures, and I even mean like Southern American culture. There's like a kind of quick wit, and like in their culture, they use a lot of sayings, you know, that I feel like we kind of don't do in the North/Northeast. So it's like a quick wit where there's a lot of these really quirky sayings that to everyone else, it's probably just normal for them, but like to everyone else, it's like, oh my gosh, did you just say that? She's like, will you be able to do that? Will you be able to get the African theme going? And he's like, well, you know, as far as that goes, we can barbecue a goat. And it's just like, what is your definition of African style? Goat barbecuing? Where'd you learn that? I'm sorry, is that West African, Central, North African, South African? What? I don't know. Angela kind of blows past that because I think she realizes that she has no idea what she even envisions as African theme. And then she's like, well, will you be able to do that or not? And he's like, yeah, we'll be able to do whatever. So then she starts describing something where I'm like, what? Angela says she wants TVs set up like along the pathway or whatever, because there's almost like this like boardwalk that goes all around, and different areas to sit, and then there's the major gazebo and whatever. And she's like, she wants the TV set up, and then on the TVs it will show her and Michael's journey from beginning till now, and then poof, the doors will open. It's an outdoor venue, so where the doors are, I don't know. The doors will open and she will emerge, and then the song will play, and then there'll be lots of fireworks. Boom, 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 boom. So she adds the sound effect. Now she's like, "Can you do that?" And he's like, "Yeah, we can." Just like that. Just like that. Yep. TVs, fireworks, and the door opening sesame. And then she's like, how much? And he's like, about $6,000 to $8,000. Now, everybody has a different budget for wedding. And of course, it depends on how many people you're inviting and whatnot. He says $6,000 to $8,000, and Angela nearly passes out. And she just flat out says, I just don't have it. I just do not have that money. Which we're not surprised, because at last year's tell-all, the last season of Before the 90 Days, the whole issue with why she initially broke up with Michael was because he was supposed to just take $300 out of her bank account, and then somehow the $300 came out a total of 3 times, withdrawing a total of $900 from Angela's account. And she then said that there was no money in her account after that. So, we're obviously, this is paycheck to paycheck. This is $1,000, maybe a little bit more than that, in checking and savings altogether. That's what it is. That's what she's working with. So, Angela's talking about TVs. How much do you think that was going to be, though? So, most people would think that $6,000 to $8,000 for your wedding budget is like, okay, that's good. But Angela's like, no, that can't work. So then DJ Doug follows with his second most famous line, which is that you can't expect a caviar and champagne wedding on a malt liquor budget. Now he didn't say it to her face, but he looks like he would have. This guy, he's on this show, but like, he is real. Like, this is who he really is. He is not faking. Like, this is who DJ Doug really is. So again, he's coming with those really funny sayings, and he's just saying it like nothing, because it's not funny to him, because that is their culture. Anyway, later Angela meets with one of her daughters at a restaurant, and she starts talking to her daughter about the fact that Michael needs a baby, because in his culture, husbands expect their wives to give them babies. And it's like, again, when these Americans say this about, well, in their culture, they do this and whatever. And it's like, I'm sorry. So in American culture, husbands don't expect their wives to give them babies either? Is that not what happened? Angela, what you're saying is you're with a young man who hasn't had his children yet. So that's what it is. It's not about in Nigerian culture they expect children. What culture doesn't expect children when there's a marriage and the people want to have babies and they want to procreate. They want to continue the family line. So her daughter's just like, tell me you're not pregnant. And she's like, funny you would ask. And she's like, I'll give you the egg. I just need you to tote it for me. And the daughter's just like, what? No, blah, 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 blah. Then she switches and says, well, what if I get someone else to tote it and then you just give me your egg? How'd you just switch like that, Angela? And she didn't think nothing of it. Like, her daughter was like, no, I'm not going to make a baby. She's like, it's not going to be yours. We'll take it, whatever. She's like, yeah, but it's my baby biologically, so no, I'm not making a baby with your husband. Like, I don't understand people. But then, and then I'm like, Angela, where is your budget? Do you have any idea how much surrogates cost? And even if you were to get your daughter to do it, and I'm assuming assuming you were expecting that your daughter would do this for free, just tote it for free, whether it's her egg or not. It's like you would have to then be responsible for her, like, medical bills and all of that, Angela. So that it's not cheap to have a baby these days, sweetie. Anyway, and she's like really begging her daughter, talking about like, no, like he needs a baby, he needs a baby. Like I have to give it to him. He expects it. Ugh. I do not get it. Then at the end of that conversation, her daughter is almost like, well, I would have to see that you would actually get married to him and that you guys would work out your trust issues before I would even consider this. I'm like, I'm sorry, you were considering even just toting it? Why? All of y'all are crazy. Lastly, the major thing that happens with Angela in the most recent episode is that she met with a lawyer to find out where she is in the whole K-1 visa process. And there's just lots of things. There's lots of steps. But in today's meeting, the lawyer is like, clearly this lawyer is happy that things are taking as long as they are, because he wants Angela to really think about what she's doing and really consider what she's getting herself into. So one of the things that the lawyer explained to her is something that all of us 90-day veterans know all about, and that is the 10-year financial responsibility, regardless of whether you remain married to this person or not, right? And Angela, which I'm like, maybe she's never watched 90 Day Fiancé before, despite the fact that she's been on the show. She's like, she never heard of this, and she's like, what? I would still be responsible for him, Now, of course, the other thing is that people, what it means is if your spouse, whether they remain your spouse or not, if they get a job and they work legally with their green card or whatever, then they wouldn't necessarily need financial assistance from you, and certainly would not be trying to get government financial assistance if they have their own job and they actually can support themselves financially, but it is in the event that, yes, they don't have a job or they lose their job or whatever. And if they were to try to apply for food stamps or whatever, it's like, no, they would not qualify for an entire 10 years. So therefore, if they need food, you're the one on the hook legally, So yes, that is a lot to consider. So that's to anybody. But it's like, again, it's not even about like, oh, really consider this before you bring this foreigner to America, to whatever. It's like, I think the major concept is just recognize how serious marriage is. It's a serious commitment. It's a serious commitment financially, emotionally, everything. Okay. So moving on to Darcy and Tom. Whew. So we find out that Tom is a distributor for a sportswear clothing brand. So he travels a lot for his job, and, he's just living the bachelor life, single life. He admits that he is a player. He has not had any kind of truly committed relationship, monogamous, nothing like that, right? But he's 39 years old, so he's really coming to the point where, and although he looks 47, he's really come to the point where he's realizing that he wants to settle down, So in knowing Darcy for the past couple of years, and then being for her as she went through her big breakup with, what's his name? I don't even want to say his name, Jesse, because they keep dropping Jesse's name. Jesse is like, is he collecting royalties? Okay, they will not drop his name. So, he, finally says like, maybe this will be something that can, blossom into something more serious, because he is looking to settle down, Tom. Now, before Darcy leaves, before she gets to England, she goes out to dinner or for drinks with her sister, Stacy, and one of her friends named Raina. And, she starts talking about how, like, yeah, he's the perfect man. And, like, I'm hoping that he's going to propose before I leave. And her friend just stops her right away. Drunk as she is, she's just like, oh, my gosh, Darcy, stop. Like, this is the same way you went on and on about Jesse. Like, let's just take it one day at a time. You don't have to jump into an engagement right away. Like, just get to know him, take it slow, you know? And then she just kind of gets defensive and like, whatever, because Stacy also reiterates what her friend is saying as well. And she's like, I deserve this, you know? And then she kind of snaps at Stacy and says, you've had your little rendezvous for the last 3 years. So I guess Darcy's a little jealous that her sister has been engaged for 3 years, and apparently she got engaged on her first visit to her Albanian fiance. But it's like, okay, like, you know, it's like it's like, I guess if somebody else has something that she doesn't have, also being her twin sister or whatever, it's like she can't handle that. So, but again, they're not telling her stupid advice. They're giving her very sound advice. And she decides to FaceTime Tom while they're out for drinks, and her friend then gets really inappropriate. Well, she's drunk, and she's just like, I do you, Tom. You know, she puts that out there, and then Tom, right in front of Darcy, is just like, well, now you got to show me your cleavage. What? Because what? And then she does, and she like pulls it down, and just like, eh. It's so weird. It was so weird. This is how adults act. This is how adults can act. I just, woo! You know, and then Darcy's face is like, you know, and she notes at one point, like, I mean, if he can flirt like that in front of me, what does he do, you know, when I'm not there? Well, he's not committed to you, Darcy. You are not even his, like, girlfriend. Anyway, Darcy finally gets to England, and she does a whole, remember, he's not meeting her at the airport, and she really does admit that it would have been nice for him to meet her at the airport. But, you know, I mean, I understand, but, like, it would have been really nice. So then she does this whole, like just makeover thing. I mean, she practically takes a bath in the, you know, wheelchair stall, you know, I mean, using the air dryer to dry whatever she wet up and soaped up, and she's brushing her teeth and all that, which is fine. Brush teeth, all that stuff, whatever. She's freshening up. I mean, she's going in, then opens her suitcase, flat out open, and is picking an outfit. And like, there's clothes on the ground and whatnot. It's like toilety, yucky. Anyway, she emerges, new hair, thigh-high boots, and like jacket. I don't know if there is pants underneath there. I don't know. The cab driver takes her to where Tom is. And I'm like, okay, so it must be morning, because, you know, flights to London are pretty much always night flights from New York, you know, and I'm like, wow, you guys are drinking already. Like, wow. You know, so once they see each other, you know, there's a hug, whatever, and like Darcy has kind of like a nervous smile, you know, and Tom senses that she's a little disappointed, you know, and he notes that he's perfected his little selfie smile, which is like a kind of grimace and, you know, I don't know, rugged kind of look, whatever. And the fact is, Tom is not Darcy's like aesthetic. That's not her type, you know. And not that Darcy couldn't like be open to various types, whatever, but like, he's like a proper English gentleman. Like, he looks like he works with the ministry of the royal family. You know, he's got the salt and pepper hair, little curly cues, oddly enough, spilling over like a bang, you know, and then he's wearing kind of like skinny pant jeans. His tie is like up to his belly button. That was kind of weird. Jacket's kind of open or whatever. And I understand he's not like super fit like Jesse, and that's fine. But he's still not, that's not Darcy's type. That ain't her aesthetic, you know. Darcy is like edgy. She's like, you know, very like, you know, youngish and, you know, edgy is how I would describe her. And he's not. He's proper, you know. Anyway, whatever. Not that they couldn't match up, but it just, you know. Anyway, but he senses that she's not really feeling him, which I'm like, yo, Darcy, you and your insecurities could have used that as a leg up to just kind of boost your confidence or whatever. So he kind of asked her like, am I what you expected? And she's like, better. better. And then she goes in, which I'm like, she's lying, you know, but she's like, you just have the it factor for me. And he's like, really? What is that? Like, in what way? And she's like, you know, just who you are. You're just your personality, your look, your style. It's just the it factor. And I realize, again, a lot of these people, they thrive on these sayings, you know, like just throwing out all these sayings about how much they love the person and just like, you just do it for me and you just whatever. And there's really no back and forth conversation. There's really no getting to know the person. There's really no growth. It's really just, Darcy just jumps right on in, head first, cannonball, you know, into just, she just wants it all. She's very intense. Darcy, I think that Darcy, her insecurities are uncomfortable to watch, given her age, given the fact that she has young daughters who I feel, I mean, I hope don't look up to her in her relationship life, you know, and don't emulate what their mom does. But it's just, it's uncomfortable to watch because I think she's just so insecure. In the drive over, actually, before she met Tom, she was saying things just like, I'm just really hoping that I feel the love from Tom, you know, to be able to feel like a beautiful woman and respected and deserving. And I'm just really looking to feel the love, all that love from Tom. And it's like, Darcy, I really hope and wish for you that you can feel beautiful, respected, and deserving, you know, of the pursuit of happiness, you know, of good things in life on your own. I am disturbed that you feel like, or you seemingly are presenting yourself to be that, like, you wouldn't be able to feel these things or get these things without it coming from a man. So if you don't feel the love from a man, or if you don't feel, you know, whatever from a man, then it's not gonna come, you know, like, or it's not real, or maybe you don't really feel respected or whatever, and deserving and loved and whatever. And what I'm not saying is, oh, you should just feel whatever, like, don't have a desire to be loved by a man. That's not what I'm saying. People want to experience love. People want to experience love from, you know, a spouse or from a partner or from whatever. That's fine. We all have that desire. That's a normal desire. But the extent to what she wants, to me, I think is depending on another human being way too much, especially one that you are not even truly in a committed relationship with yet. So pretty much off the bat, Tom already senses how needy Darcy is and how emotionally needy she is. And he knows that that is not attractive, you know, even though I think he realizes that she's hotter than he is, but he recognizes like, but I may not be attracted to this. And like, Darcy's whole thing is dependent on whether the man likes her, whatever. Like, her decision to be with the man is going to depend on whether he wants to be with her first, you know? And it's like, Darcy, like, you have a choice in this. Like, you can decide, like, is he for me? Is he not? Whatever. It's like, you know, unfortunately, I don't think that Darcy's really the type of person that would break up with somebody. The person really would have to break up with her, you know, because I think she will just accept, you know, before she'll say, like, you know what, this doesn't really work for me, you know? I don't know. Unfortunate. This is not going to last. Obviously, this relationship is not going to last. This guy, at the very least, you know, maybe just wants his 15 minutes of fame, but I definitely don't think that he looks like somebody that is really up for a level of dramatics in a relationship. Like, the way that Darcy and Jesse's relationship was, like, I don't think that he's really into that. Because if he was, I don't think he would be noting, like, ooh, she's emotionally needy. I don't think I really like that. I don't think he would be okay. I don't, no, you know. Moving on to Timothy and Jennifer. Ugh, this is just annoying, ridiculous. So, I mean, the main thing is, so Timothy is from Charlotte, North Carolina, right? And then Jennifer is from Colombia. And Timothy's ex, Veronica, is not even a third wheel. I think that she's trying to make Jennifer the third wheel. She's trying to make well, this is us, and like, you're joining us. And it's like, then I really don't understand why you guys aren't together if there's such this closeness, there's this best friendship, you guys are raising your daughter together, Veronica, and clearly he's a good enough guy to remain in that father position and responsibility. But I'm like, yeah, Timothy, I mean, clearly he's somebody that can be easily just pulled and pushed and pulled and whatever. So Veronica, stupidly for the show, scripted, throws a going away party for Timothy. Who does that? He's not moving. This is not 90 Day the other way. Like, he's going on vacation for 2 weeks. Nobody gets a going away party when they go away on vacation. So she wants to be on the show. She has to insert herself in such a way. And like, why couldn't it just be like, hey, let's just go like hang out, whatever. It's like, no, he's calling it a farewell party. Like, this is dumb, you know? Anyway, and then Veronica takes a picture, a selfie with Timothy while she's sitting on his lap. And then she forces him to send that picture to Jennifer. Now, Jennifer, Colombia, she wanted him to send her pictures of this farewell party because she's already uncomfortable with the fact that the ex is all up in his life like this, having to throw this party and whatnot. So she's like, she wants to know what's going on at this party. So he gets bamboozled into sending this pic. He has no backbone, to Jennifer. And then of course she responds with whatevs or whatever, you know? So she's not happy. And Veronica knows what she's doing. Like, you're a woman, like, you know what you're doing, right? Anyway, I will say that while it's noble that he, I guess, has, again, remained in this father role for Veronica's daughter. I mean, I don't know if he was raising her from the time that she was like an infant, like baby, to the point where she has no memory of him not being in her life. So I can understand how difficult that would be for someone to walk away. But I will say this, if I were to become his wife, I don't know how I would feel about you being a father to someone that you're actually not really a biological father to. And this really was because you were just continuing to help your best friend raise your child. Like, I would much rather it just be that you kind of just backseat to like maybe godfather status, you know? I think that's a really uncomfortable position to be in. I just, you know, and I don't think it's fair all around, but the fact is this Veronica person is like, she's very adamant about she's not going anywhere, you know? So she's going to make things very difficult for Timothy and Jennifer. And because he doesn't really have a backbone, he's not going to stop any of that. So it's just going to be drama, drama, drama. So he might find himself without that Colombian relationship, and then, you know, just having this best friend, you know, and then the daughter, which Veronica seems to be, that was what she would want, you know? Anyway, moving on to Rebecca and Zied. All right. So Rebecca finally makes it to Tunisia. And it's disturbing because this couple is really obsessed with each other's selfies. I mean, so she's got the pictures all around her apartment of him. And then he gets to the airport and we see that he has printed a huge picture of Rebecca's, you know, heavily photoshopped / filtered picture on his chest. It's a gorgeous pic. You know, it looks like Rebecca when she was 24. So Rebecca at 47 is showing up, you know, face and all, you know. But they embrace, and while he kind of notes that she looks different from picture, but he's happy, they're both happy, and she's just like, oh, I'm happy that he's okay with the fact that I don't look the way that my pictures look. I mean, these people, I just, woo, bold. But it's okay, because you know what? He had one coming to her, right? They're leaving the airport, and he goes, oh, by the way, honey, I need you to rent a car. Like, I don't get the rules of the country, because he, as a like citizen of Tunisia, cannot rent a car until he has driven for 5 years. And so he has not had his license for 5 years, apparently. And I'm assuming that also must mean that he also doesn't have a car, because if he had a car, wouldn't he have just brought his car to pick her up from the airport and then there would be no issues? So But I guess the rules for foreigners are different. Foreigners can just drive a car, but rent a car, you know? I'm assuming that she footed the bill. I mean, they didn't state that he handed over his credit card or the cash. So right then and there, I'm just like, what? Like, a no. You know, what? That would be a no for me. It would be a no for me, dog. Like, it would be over. Are you kidding me? So she's there for 3 weeks, has to rent this car, and then on top of that, because she's the one that renting, my thing is like, I mean, unless maybe he doesn't want to get caught because like they're on television. I don't know. But my thing is like, you would be driving. I would not be coming to this country talking about, oh, let me now learn how to drive in Tunisia. No. You know, no. You know, so then she's just like, eek! Oh my gosh. What's going on? They're driving so crazy here. You know, no. I don't want that responsibility. I would not feel safe to do that. Absolutely not. You know, ridiculous. So right then and there, it's like, oh my goodness, these people are just so irresponsible with life. The next morning, so obviously they have slept together, you know, everything is perfect. Oh my gosh, he's romantic, and everything that you want in a man says, so says Rebecca. And, you know, they're saying all of the lines. You are beautiful. You are everything I want. You make me so happy. You are here with me. I am here with you. And it's just a lot of back and forth of those superficial lines. I watched a video years ago, you know, YouTube couple. They were Black and Korean. And one of the things that they did say was, which made sense. They were just like, you know what? We probably don't get into as many fights as some other couples do because being that the two of them are not natively fluent in each other's language, there's a lot that's not understood. There's a lot that just kind of gets swept under the rug, like, you know. And then there's a lot that I'm sure is just simply lost in translation, you know, literally. And so there's kind of less to fight about because you can't really get that deep when you don't understand everything all the time. So in that respect, I guess I can understand, you know, that the relationships between these people actually can thrive in a sense. But it's also more so about what you're looking for in a relationship, because if you're somebody that is okay with a superficial, you know, relationship where it's not very deep, it's not very emotionally deep, it's not mentally and intellectually stimulating, then, you know, then you can get by with all of those lines, you know, and just communicate physically. A lot, which I guess is a lot of what these couples really end up being. I mean, that's where a lot of their relationship is. She's, of course, feeling uncomfortable and guilty-ish because she has not yet told Ziad that she is still married to her ex-Moroccan husband. Although she has just filed for divorce. So long as she just tells him that, like, well, we're not together, we're not, you know, I don't even know where he is, whatever, it's just about us, you know, having to go through the paperwork and finish it up. Maybe he won't care. I don't know. Then they talk a little bit about their past relationships. That kind of goes back and forth a little bit. And then she, in some ways, is a little concerned because she's like, oh, I hope he doesn't have trust issues. And I'm like, but don't you have trust issues? I mean, you're lying to him also. So aren't you going to kind of give him trust issues because you're not being completely honest? We're almost at the end. The newest couple, and I'm assuming is going to be our final couple for this season of Before the 90 Days, we meet Benjamin, who is 33 and from Phoenix, Arizona, and Akini, who is 26 and from Nairobi, Kenya. You know, I will say this. Anytime a 90 day becomes too serious and just really sad to me, and I actually cannot enjoy it when I see a young Black woman getting caught up in this foolish mess. I'm sorry. It's not fun for me anymore. You know, the most disturbing one was the like 19-year-old Haitian girl with the 60-something-year-old ex-boyfriend, and then the 40-something-year-old boyfriend. Oh. Anyway, this isn't exactly the same thing. They're closer in age. Akini is 26 and then Benjamin is 33. So, you know, it's not, the age difference is fine, you know, but I don't know. It's like, why, girl? Why? Akini? What? Come on, girl. Anyway, what we learn about Benjamin is he is divorced. Okay, like I'm just like, sweetie. Oh my gosh. He's like, he's a young guy who's already divorced. Ugh, I can't. And with a kid. I mean, he seems like a nice guy. He definitely kind of seemingly says that he was blindsided with his divorce. He doesn't specify what went wrong. The only thing that he says is that they had trust issues. I don't know what that means. Did you cheat on your wife? His wife was also black. So, anyway, but yeah, he has a son. He loves his son, Grayson, and they do have, they share custody 50-50. So, he's like a legit dad. Like he's a responsible person in that sense, right? He loves his son. But yeah, they've been divorced, I believe he said, for 4 years, and his son is like 5 years old. So like, they definitely did not live any time together as a family. Oh, gosh, it's just so sad. He then tells Akini that he's pretty fly for a white guy. I don't know if he feels that way about himself because obviously he's had experience dating black women and then obviously marrying one. So I don't know. But he's 100% corny and a cornball. So fly is not what I would use to describe you. He is planning on taking a visit to Kenya and visiting Akini. And he's like ready to propose to her because he just said the moment that he saw her picture and they video chatted for the first time, he knew that she was the one for him. Anyway, but he recognizes that financially he's just, he's living paycheck to paycheck. He has $2,000 in his account, and after he pays for his plane ticket and all the other things that he needs to get for his trip to Kenya, he's going to be down to $1,000 in his bank account. He learns about the bride price that he would have to pay in order to actually get married to Akini, and it's several thousands of dollars, and he just does not have that money, and his heart is broken. But it's like, it's all this like, but I have to do it for love, and I can't, because you can't say no to your heart. Your heart is never wrong. Once ever your heart says something, listen to it. You got to do what your heart tells you to do. You have no money in the bank, but do what your heart tells you to do. You have a very young son, but go halfway across the world and try to bring, a new wife back. Yeah, it's just insane. Anyway, so he's packing, so I guess he'll be at Kenya next episode. Lastly, I will talk about Caesar and Maria. I'm just gonna make this quick because, Caesar's story is so crazy and so extreme. Everybody is pretty much guessing that this is scripted, that this is set up, this is not real. It's not even about him being catfish because it's like, granted that it could potentially be an actual real situation. It's like, but it is what it is. It's not even like, we used to think that Nicole and Azan were like in a bad situation because he's like never going to marry her or whatever. But it's like, she actually has a relationship with Azan. Like, she's been to Morocco many times, even though he's never come to the U.S., and yes, he's tried to go to different locations so they could be other places, but at least she has been to Morocco many a times, and they have spent weeks together, and then they talk all the time. They actually do actual FaceTime all the time. So Nicole isn't looking like the worst 90-day relationship, okay? So I don't know. Caesar and Maria very well might be fake. Whether or not he's an actor or not, it's too radical. It's really too radical for this show. Even though, as I said before, before the 90 days brings out the real crazies, because these are the people who, it takes a kind of next level person to actually follow through with the marriage, because then you really need the money for the K1. Then you really need to like arrange for the person to come to America, and then they actually have to come. And Caesar lets Maria know that there are flights leaving out of Ukraine. So whatever she was talking about, like, oh my gosh, it's too dangerous, Russia's attacking us. He's like, nope, I'm not finding anything. So he's like, so just go to Mexico. I'm sending you $2,000, book your ticket. And then she's kind of like, okay, you know. Then he goes ring shopping with a friend. Oh, and that was the other thing. Caesar, I think out of everybody that I've seen on 90 Day, so far, in the 3 short episodes, he already has had so many friends make a cameo. I mean, it is insane. So that's why his thing really might be set up, because maybe everybody's like, yo, let me try to get in. Let me try to get my 15 minutes, you know? I mean, Aloha Nails is getting all the promos and all of the publicity, you know? And, you know, so we see several of his clients, okay? We met his boss. We met the friend that goes ring shopping with him. Then there's the friend that comes over just to watch him be at home. So he's got lots of friends, you know? And they all tell him that he loves Maria more than she loves him. All that stuff. I think we also find out that they've actually never fully Skyped, as far as we know. She just sends him video clips, and then the only other thing they do is text and then talk on the phone. Why she doesn't Skype with him, I don't understand. Like, why couldn't you just Skype with him? I mean, I understand if you're doing videos and then sending it to multiple people, so then that's why you never call him by his full name. But, like, why couldn't she ever be available for Skype? I don't understand. I mean, she's available for real phone conversations. Anyway, so he buys her a ring, whatever. And then, because he wants to potentially ask her to marry him once he meets her in person, finally, after 5 years. And then, but lastly, with the encouragement of one of his clients, he decides, because Maria came back again to say she's not going to be able to come at the time, which is the next day. He's supposed to fly out the next day. And he's like, what's going on? And she's like, oh, it's my mom's birthday. And then she's like, and then I got to get my hair done. I got to get my teeth done. And I have to go to cosmetology. And all this stuff. It's like, either she's like, I'm going to use this $2,000 to do all the stuff on my mama's birthday, or she already spent it and then she needs more money or whatever. Anyway, the client encourages Caesar to just book her ticket because she's like never going to do it. And then, you know, I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, are you forcing somebody into loving you? Like, I understand you wanting to book the ticket because it's like, oh, you know, like, I'm paying for it, whatever, fine. But it's like, you're actually right now only booking it because you realize, oh my gosh, she might never book it. So now you're kind of forcing her hand, though, you know? And I don't know what I would do if she wouldn't show up. I don't know what I would do. It's like, you know, and then Caesar goes on and on about how he didn't pay any of his bills. So the last little bit of money that he used to book her ticket, after he sent her $2,000 and she did not book a ticket, he decided to use that money instead of paying his light bills, paying for his food, paying his rent. Someone said that he has a kid. I don't know. I didn't see that. Is that true or whatever? So, you know, very irresponsible if that is the case. So I don't know. It's not funny anymore. I think it's actually really, really stupid. So I guess we're just going to see. I hope it's not drawn out, like over like the next 3 episodes. Like, I hope by next episode he's in Mexico and like at least they show us that she did not get on the plane to come. I mean, I'm assuming that there's not even a crew in Ukraine. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm assuming there's not even a crew in Ukraine then. But I hope they don't extend it for that many more episodes. Even if they extend so that the cliffhanger is at the end of next episode and then we see, is she in Mexico or not? Or did she call and say, sorry, my mom's birthday went longer than I thought. 2 weeks wasn't long enough for me to party with my mom. All right, guys. Woo! 2 episodes. 2 episodes in one. Episodes 2 and 3. Woo! Thanks for watching. Like this video if you like the craziness that you're seeing. And then comment. Who's your favorite this season so far? What do you think about Darcy? I mean, should Darcy have even been on this? It's painful to watch. Angela and Michael, I mean, they are definitely entertaining. I will say that. But then it's also kind of painful to watch Avery because she's just so young and impressionable. And nothing is deep with this. And I just think this is ridiculous. So see you next time. Bye.